Disclaimer: everything that is discussed, posted is strictly for educational and historical purposes only. It does not promote nor condone illegal activities. Goddamn Kennels GRCH Richard Ramirez aka my boy 5XW poor G.I.S. The monster beat to DJ champs and has produced 2 champs to date. My owner and I didn't know it, but this was just the beginning of our travels together. We got to the yard and I got a brand new chain spot amongst the other 78 rowdy bunch. A few months went by. I'm 9 months old, acting like a grown dog and firing on everything. My owner thinks I'm a year old and brings out a 14 months from BBZ Kennels. I hit him hard in the chest and shoot to his stifles. In 5 minutes I have the other looking for a way out. By 7 he is running away. They break us and put me away. I was on the chain mad for the next 5 months. They tried me again and I smashed this 1 in 5 in the kidneys. They put me back on the chain to stew, this time for 2 months. I dragged him to the box and seemed like as fast as we got there. It was done in 7, hard and deep in the stifles. My owner is wondering how game I am since I'm destroying everything they are throwing at me. Next time is out the yard and supposed to be a tough one. Called up A.P.B.T Grigo. He says he has one. Usually he big dogs us, but this time it was the other way around. We get in the box. Both hounds are ready to go and we are released. I fly across and hit him in the kidneys, then drive him 100 miles per hour into the wall. I ram him into it a few more good times and by to the other charge is fatally damaged with busted kidneys. We broke it up and his balls were the size of tomatoes. He died a couple hours later. I talked to another old dog man and he says I guess you need to gut check him. 3 days after demolishing Grigo's animal they are letting me do my thing again. I'm happy, strong and ready. It's on. We hit hard and this guy here is swapping it out with me, but I seem to have more mouth. We are going back and forth and he's starting to slow down. At 15 they break us and I hear this white dog is damaged in the chest. We scratch into each other hard. I get him down and start working his chest. They break us up and take out the badly beat up Slim Shady. I am in the corner looking for more and here comes another white dog, Crazy. He hits me hard and takes the lead for about 5 to 7 minutes and he gets me down a few times. Crazy gets to blowing and I have my chance and jump in his chest deep. I let it go and it's running. I hit the stifle and make it go, then stiff hit the other stifle and Crazy is now a down dog. They break us and I smash Crazy. They break us again and Crazy is screaming in the corner for more. He comes and hits me but I fold him up and it's now 20 more. 40 minutes in total. I'm ready for the highway. No one locally wanted any, so calls were made and DSK-AD says there is one that won in 209 and he is pretty game. We were like that's what we want. Everything is set and the day comes. 4 of us, GDK, BLT and our good buddy Gonzo, traveled 9 hours to the booth then on into a mess. GDK's Richard plus KC Boys Nigger 1XW M46/ref, DSK. Our nerves are high. We are as ready as the dog by now. We wave, wash and get ready to get down. They wash first then us. We get in and get into our corner and the release command is said. Nigger is coming hard and we meet in the middle. He tries to swap it out and pays for it as I grab a front leg and break it at 5. By the 10-minute mark we are dominating the pace and by 13 we are deep into the chest. They ask for a scratch to continue but my owner says no, pick it up if you want to save your dog. They said no, so I was sent in at 19. They ask for another scratch to continue. I give it to them but Nigger collapses in the corner looking at us as he takes the count. Goddamn Kennels Richard 1XW. On the way home I'm so happy I call Jerry of DSK and thank him for this badass dog. I tell him we are looking for number 2. It's March and we are hooked for May. This is supposed to be a battle. Fat Boys John Cuff Dog and Richard. The word is John Cuff is going to make short work of Richard. GDK's Richard 1XW plus Fat Boy and Black Rivers 1XW M45, ref, SCK. The night comes and we drive 3 hours to meet Fat Boy. When we get there we're informed that they substitute John Cuff for this 1XW that has killed 1 in 19 that Black River has conditioned. It's on. We drive like 2 more hours to the spot. They're supposed to be 2 shows. I wasn't aware of that plus the 60 people there. We wave, wash and hit the box. We get into our corner. Release your dogs. Both animals hit hard. They grab us by the foot and break a toe in the first couple minutes, but we reach down and grab the ankle and snap it. We are barely 4 minutes in. By 7 minutes I grab the same leg and snap it again below knee. At the 11-minute mark I grab the armpit shoulder and bury myself deep and trying to rip it off. My owner tells them that they should pick their dog up, but they were like, nah. We are totally smothering them. I'm pushing them across the floor like a rag doll. At 14 they ask for a scratch to continue. The answer is no. SCK. The ref was like, give it to them, man. That dog is dying. They ask again and this time the answer is yes. By this time the one XW is crumpled up. They break us and the one XW is just limp. When they release him he just collapse and take the count. Richard is now to XW killer. As we were walking out my owner stops at Fat Boy and calls him out with John Cuff, but he says no. This night was also the night I met T of SCK. He tells me on the ride home that he have never seen a dog bite like that, and he's glad they never ran into a dog like that. Needless to say, we were extremely happy with the outcome and the comments T made. We went with T to go see SCK's awesome Buckmate Grand Champion. That night we made contact with Match and Scratch, calling out their champion Bullet Dog. I told them I'd go right to them, but they still declined. We are now on the hunt. Our confidence is through the roof. We're ready to go into anyone, anywhere. We are on a mission. It's summertime and making calls. GDK's Richard to XW plus Mung CH Ghost M45, ref, Irish Kid, Richard made to XW, and now the hunt is on for the champion title. The first people I tried to get in contact was Captain America. I told them I'd travel to their backyard. We were tentatively hooked and they called and backed out. I also talked to D-Mayo and then to EC, who had a Mung CH Ghost out on the west coast. Needless to say, I wanted CH Ghost. He had already defeated BMW Zikis and had over 6 hours of box time. He was the definition of a solid game dog into top comp. EC and I talked on the phone a lot, talking smack to each other. One day he says, we got the medicine for that dog of yours. I was like, damn. All I would tell him is all we need is one bite. We set the date and wait, 44 for them and 45 for us for traveling to them. Time flew. By 2 weeks to show and Richard has a limp on front left. We took him and had blood work done. They said he had an infection in his shoulder and his blood count was at 38. I started him on his antibiotics. He started feeling much better after the week of medications. I was told by MAD to pay the forfeit, but I was hard-headed and didn't want it to pay and missed the chance to go into CH Ghost. It seems Richard is feeling much better for days before show, so we load up and head out. We get to the spot 33 hours later and about 5,500 feet elevation. We are now at the house of the Irish Kid, an awesome gentleman, host and referee. We arrived a couple of days early. Show night comes and the tension is in the air. We set the rules, no water in between scratches. This was new to me, but I agreed. We weighed. They were 44 1/4, 1/4 over the contracted weight. Grand Champion Richard Ramirez were 44 1/4 also. They were over, we were under. So, we just said let's do it. They wash first. Richard knows what's up and starts whining and crawling up me as we are walking to the box. We get in and walk to the middle to let Rich see CH Ghost. He just starts vibrating in my hands. We walk backwards and my boy is as intense as can be and ready to go. Ref says release and they hit in the middle. Ghost is on the head immediately. Ears right away, then right in between the eyes. We can see now why Ghost is a champion. He works his hold. We are driving and not getting a hold. 15 minutes goes by and Ghost is still right between the eyes, dancing around real slick. We are still trying to get our first bite in, but we are just being held out right between the eyes and forehead area. Richard's first 2 shows barely last 22, killing both of them and breaking legs. As we hit the 40-minute mark, me and my friends are looking at each other thinking he's never been past that. He is smiling at me telling me I told you we had the paddle for you. We are not breathing hard and still very strong. Ghost seems to slow down and Richard catches him in the armpit. We are deep in there when Richard lets it go. It's just leaking out. We are at 45 pushing and driving Ghost, making him work to hold us. We catch him in the corner at about 50 in the back stifle, roughing him up, filling our mouth, driving him into the corner. Ghost is steadily slowing down, bleeding out that front armpit. That one bite at 40 was the beginning of the end for Ghost. When we release Ghost Stifle, it's useless, just stretched out stiff. He is getting crumpled up by Richard at this point. At about 1:05 I tell them they should pick up. They say we have a game dog. Okay, let's take him to the house, son. Richard is deep in the armpit and he starts dragging Ghost to me. I walk backwards away from Richard, talking to him all nice. Let's go home, son. Bring him to the house, son. He is just dragging Ghost completely around the box. By 1:10 they ask for a scratch to continue. Again, I said no, pick up your dog. They said no. I keep urging Richard and he keeps wagging his tail, constantly digging into the throat, dragging Ghost. It's 1:15 and I'm telling them that if you want to save Ghost they'd better pick him up. Richard is deep in throat finishing work. They ask for another scratch to continue at 1:20. I grant it and we make handles. Ghost sits down and stays down, taking the count. We courtesy hard into the chest. I take Richard out of the box. He pisses and pulls me back to the box looking for more. Awesome times. I said, damn it, Matt. I would have never believed that one bite from Richard would be all it really took. I thought you were bullshitting me. Congrats on a good dog. I was psyched. Richard made champion in 9 months. GDKCH Richard plus to Sharpnels CH Rock M45, Ref, SCK. There's been a few months that have gone by. I've been living in the house full-time since we came back. I was feeling good. I also got bread a few times. Anyway, calls were made and J of SCK got things going and we were set to go into to Sharp Kennels CH Rock, a 4-time winner who already won hardcore kennels into ours and a son of Nika Jr. into ours also. Rock had a turning style. On this trip we were headed to the opposite side of the country. This show was to also have Butcher Knife CH Kunda plus Super Crackers GRCH Wacko. Time flies by and we jump in the car and head out. 18 hours later we are in Orlando. I'll then meet up with some friends 2 hours south. We chill, feeling good. The night arrives. A couple of hours before go time I'm getting rubbed down. When they rub my right ear I flinch. My owner looks at me and I hear him tell someone check this out and he rubs my ear. I flinch again. I hear some talk of paying the forfeit. We hop in the car and ride about an hour. We are the first to go. We get in the box and get in our corner. Release. We meet Rock hard in the middle, pushing him back. Doesn't take long and Rock's style is definitely showing up as he starts to spin around and turn, bites and comes out of holds at the 5-minute mark. We are steadily chasing him down. I can't remember who called a turn on Rock, but at about 20 the scratching starts. Rock comes across good. He thinks about swapping for like a minute and back to his style. It is hard to get good holds when they're spinning and turning like a top. We have gotten to Rock a few good times by the 30-minute mark. We hear people saying I thought Richard was a killer. We stay busy chasing this guy down. Now we are at 45 and have made 3 hard scratches and the battle continues. By the hour mark Rock has slowed down and we are catching him when we want and starting to do what I do and work him hard in the chest. We are strong and still have plenty in the tank. We scratch again. It's 1:10 now and I hit Rock before he knows what's going on. It's Rock's turn to go and he takes the count at 1:20. We pick up Richard. He walks, takes a piss and wants to go back in the box. Rock is in the process of trying to be saved. They've got him on the IV. 20 minutes later he expires. Richard once again proves he is a killer. Shortly after CH Kunta defeats GRCH Wacko in a very convincing performance. Goddamn Kennels CH Richard for XW is awarded Gamest in Show. Now Richard is open to anyone with a champion that wants to come to TX. We have traveled to every show and conquered. By now we have won in for states and traveled about 9,000 miles in total. No one wants to take the challenge. We've called out numerous champions and some were immediately retired when we called. I offered to travel into top competition but no takers. We tried to get at CML numerous times with a no for an answer. Much time has passed. I've been bred a few more times and got some winning kids on the ground. It's now 2004. It's been almost a year with no takers. GDKCH Richard plus BBZ's Mojo Jojo M45, Ref, MAD. One day I get a call from Ohio that the legendary Ray of BBZ was talking shit that Richard was no good and that he could kill him with his Mojo dog that had lost game in over an hour. I blew it off for a few months, then I got the same call again. This time I called Ray and he says he did say he could whip Richard with Mojo. I told him if he is so confident, why don't we find out since he is the best dog man out there in his opinion. He gets quiet and says okay, 45 days. I said you tell me, I'll do it whenever and wherever, so the 45 days go by. I have actually been bred twice during this time. The day comes and we get to the spot. They are literally taking the mill and Mojo's dog house from inside the box. This is where Mojo lives, eats and works. We asked to weigh but Ray says it doesn't matter. I brought Mojo, you brought Richard. I said okay. We wash and go to the box. We get in first, letting Richard walk around and sniff the area. Mojo is brought in and gets in his corner. A.P.B.T commands to release and we hit in the middle. Mojo wants to swap it out to our surprise. The first 5 it's back and forth, then we settle in and start picking him apart. We've damaged the shoulder by 10 and by 20 we hit him in stifle and blood squirts from one stifle to the other in a stream. Mojo starts looking around. We keep punishing him harder and harder as he is getting weaker and starts turning. I call a turn and it's granted. By the 30-minute mark Mojo is literally trying to jump the box, but Richard grabs him by the rib cage and drags him back in. We are getting it in good now. I'm finally able to make a handle at 35 and Mojo is trying to get out the box and is counted out. We are declared the winners. Mojo's stifle is dragging, he is laid out. He is going to die and a lady starts crying to save her dog. The legendary BBZ doesn't know what to do, so A.P.B.T steps in and runs the IV that saves Mojo's life. We've won 5 now and made grand champion, but I tell people we are still looking for that champion that wants to challenge us in our backyard. We never had an offer from anyone with a champion to come and visit us. I've lived a very good life. My owner loved me and I was a part of the family. Richard was great with kids and played with pups. He was an awesome, once-in-a-lifetime animal. If not for Grand Champion Richard I wouldn't have the family that I do today. Thanks to my boy goddamn Kennels Grand Champion Richard Ramirez, who gave me some awesome adventures and memories. Ales, him and John would have been one barn burner. The story of John not wanting any was definitely not the truth. I personally saw John hunt for all his outings. He was the roughest dog I've ever seen. He had little bitty slick teeth. They were tiny and smooth. He had tiny slick cutters and hangers too. Also, I never saw him draw blood, but he'd shoot in your chest and roll like a gator or shake so hard he'd literally beat you to death in the corner. When he did come out, it looked like your dog's chest was a bag of water, lol. He beat Mardi Gras Kennel for 10 bands, Long Nose Sam for 20, then his third for 30. Nothing ever made it past 35 minutes up until he was pushed uphill off the chain into a work to XW, who he stopped in well over an hour. All that said, I still would have took Richard. I saw him go twice and he was all that then some. I mean, a true ace dog. Another great dog was Dun Ch Fat Boy for XW from that same area of TX, just a little ladder on down the road. He won for that. I know for sure. Have killed them all including Ch Big Head Boy in 32 minutes, which was his longest. Well, there you have it folks, the story of goddamn Kennels G.R.Ch Richard Ramirez aka Boy 5XWPORGIS.